A lot of pilots ask me how I make ISK in this game, and I usually say I shoot down a lot of drone boats. My main source of ISK income at the moment are drone boats. Drones are going on a good price on the market, so I have a lot of drones that I like to sell when I need ISK, and well, that's practically how I made most of the ISK that I have in this game at the moment. Of course, there is a mix with other things, but drones and drone boats are my main source of income. Now, it's time to take a look at the Dominix 2, one of my personal favorite targets. And well, this ship has these things that are hanging off for some reason. The same things can be seen on the Typhoon as well. Now let's go on to the bonuses on this ship. Advanced Large Drone Operation bonus will give you plus 45% drone damage, plus 5% drone optimal range, plus 5% drone tracking speed per level. Overall, very good damage boost on this ship per level. A very nice bonus. And the Advanced Battleship Command bonus per level will give you plus 10 kilometers drone command range. So by default, if you have these skills maxed out, you should have pretty good DPS, and of course you should have pretty good drone range control. And those are some very nice things about this ship that I like. Now the Dominix has 5 drones for high slots, 3 medium slots, 6 low slots, 3 combat and 3 engineering rigs. It has 85,000 hit points by default, a little bit less than the other ships. I've noticed drone boats have lower health value, lower hit point value than compared to other ships. Dominix can be a shield tank, can be a armor tank, you can choose which one you like the most. Both tank options would work really well. I personally go for a armor tank. The capacitor on this ship is a little bit lower than the other battleships, but still it should do a decent job. It has a decent recharge rate and of course decent recharge per second. Dominix can lock 7 targets. Signature radius 278.6 meters, scan resolution 116, center strength 28.1, flight velocity 135 meters per second, warp speed 2 AU per second. The Dominix is surprisingly not that slow with the micro updrive. I expected this ship to be a little bit slower, but in the end it's not that slow. It runs pretty well. And of course that's also one of the traits for drone boats. They can be quick. Of course Nestor is still the fastest drone boat, the fastest battleship drone boat that I know about. Now on to the fit. Currently I have 4 large missile launchers. I prefer to use missiles on my drone boats. I rarely use anything else. Back in the day I used to run lasers and autocannons on my RB, but I replaced that with medium missiles. They have pretty good range. You can use large missiles with the large drones and of course with the sentry drones. Now you can replace the large missiles with rapid missiles. They should be good at medium to close range. Very good against cruisers and battle cruisers, can be used even against frigates. Of course, against frigates you need to have medium or light drones, because large drones are just too slow to catch any fast ship. And of course, you can see the stats of the missiles. I have seen a lot of these ships use medium missile launchers or medium rapids or medium torpedoes, and in some cases that can actually work quite well. Works really well against smaller targets that you might have a problem with in this ship when the Dominix gets tackled while it runs missions. So we can use medium missiles if you like. I personally never used the large energy weapons on any battleship drone boat because the capacitor is very valuable and the capacitor is very important, and this ship already has it has an average capacitor, not the best, so I would spare the energy as much as I can, so I wouldn't use any energy turrets. I have seen a lot of these ships with large autocannons for some reason. It can work, but it's not a good choice if you have to shoot down a fast cruiser or frigate, because the autocannons, while they have good tracking for big ships, while engaging a cruiser or, well, a frigate or interceptor, it will not work. So in the end, I still prefer to use missiles on these ships, because overall they seem to be working incredibly well, and so far I had no issues with that at all. On this ship, I really like to use medium drones. I have Republic Fleet Valkyries and Infiltrators. They have decent speed, they can catch Nortus, they can catch other PvP cruisers, and they even can catch some frigates. Of course, if you want to chase frigates, then you need to have the drone speed module, and of course the rigs to improve the velocity of these drones. But they're still quick. 4.5 and 4.1 km per second medium drones still has good DPS, excellent drone command range, and overall they have some pretty good rate of fire and overall pretty good alpha. Now on to the rigs. I had couple, to say problems, but I had couple ideas with this ship. You can technically go to make this full tank, or you can go full DPS. You can practically choose what you want. The Dominix can be a good sniper, so with sentry drones you don't really need a tank because you are at long range, but I decided to go with a rig fusion between DPS and resistance. Two of my rigs are 3P combat rigs that have drone range control, drone speed and command range rigs installed to improve the DPS, speed and range of the Dominix. And this 4P rig has rigs for armor resistance and of course armor repair. Now you can have a lot of different builds. This is one that I personally like. I personally believe to be balanced between a PvP and PvE Dominix. I have a little hole on explosive, which isn't that noticeable if you don't take any damage with the Dominix. But if you plan to use this ship in close to mid-range, then I would prefer a more tanky build. If you want to use this ship as a sniper, then I would recommend to go full DPS. So it depends how you plan to use this ship. Because I would like to use this ship in both scenarios, I had to come up with something that's in the middle of both of these builds. Now for the rest of the modules, dual armor adaptives, dual repairers, capacitor battery, micro updrive. I personally don't like to use sentry drones. It makes the ship a easy target because the sentry drones don't move and you have to be close to them. So I personally don't use sentry drones, although they can be good. They can track things at long range, but at close to mid range they are not that good. I did shoot down a lot of Dominix ships that used sentry drones. Basically, if they use sentry drones, they are easy targets. Now you can swap the current build with a Nestform drone damage amplifier, and of course you can use a supervision drone navigation control. They improve the DPS by a little bit, 1.8 thousand DPS with the sentry drones, which is good. Of course, keep in mind that I have a little bit of a different build focused on tank as well. Light drones are very quick, 7.5 km per second for the warriors. They can catch frigates, and with the current almost 1000 DPS value that I have, they are more than enough to shoot down interceptors. Basically, if your medium drones can't catch an interceptor, then you use light drones. As for the large drones, 1666.81 DPS. That's that number kinda worrying me a little bit. 666 there. With medium drones, 1418.10 DPS, which is good. Should be more than enough to basically shoot down any annoying Ortus that can try to tackle you. 1006 DPS with the same build using light drones. The drone navigation will improve the velocity of your drones for 85.96% for 10 seconds. Very good when you have to send your drones to your target, and very good when you have to retract your drones. Makes them move on the grid a lot faster. 10 seconds is more than enough active time for these drones to reach or to return from their target. Now I will show you the active speeds of these drones, of all of the drone types that we have, from light drones to sentry drones. And don't use this build in actual use. I did fit this just for this, just to show you the drone speeds of these drones. Okay, now the large drone goes 2.7 km per second, the Berserker. Now let's activate the supervision drone navigation control and let's see the speed. 4,247 meters per second for 10 seconds. It is, well, it is still kind of slow, and it can technically reach an Ortus or any other cruiser, but once the effect goes away, then the Ortus can practically avoid incoming damage. So large drones are pretty good at larger targets, but not good against anything below a battlecruiser. Valkyries go 70 km per second, and Warriors go 11 km per second. Now that's different. That can chase around cruisers and frigates alike, so it is a very decent drone velocity. Now the sentry drones, because they already have no velocity, that will not improve the velocity on the sentry drones. So if you use sentry drones, then using drone navigation control can be a bad idea. But if you have other drones in the drone bay, then you can use that without a problem. Okay, well, let's take a look at the ship's velocity and of course at the normal DPS with this current build. I kind of like this build. It's pretty good for basically anything. 158,000 hit points. It's, I guess, okay. I have that little hole on explosive. Can be, of course, improved if you go for full tank, but because this ship will be used at long range, then tank is not a problem. Tank only matters on a sniper if you get jumped in a mission or if you go in PvP. As you could see, 1351 meters per second with the micro overdrive. This thing is actually pretty quick. It's not slow at all. The Dominix is actually quick, and that surprised me. I expected this ship to be a little bit slower, but again, having a fast ship is always a nice surprise. Now let's take a look at the active DPS. 1.9 thousand. That's okay. That's with the large drones. And overall, with the speed boost that you get, it should be doing a lot of damage. And I personally prefer the Dominix over the Rattlesnake because it has basically bonus on all drone types. The Rattlesnake has only bonus on large drones, while the Dominix has a bonus on practically all drones that we have. With the medium drones, 1.6 thousand DPS, it's still pretty good. That DPS is actually enough to kill an Ortus. From my personal experience flying the Ortus, they can't tank a lot of hits. And with the light drones, 1.1 thousand DPS, honestly, that's more than enough to shoot down a interceptor. Interceptors can't tank that much. And overall, I'm very satisfied with how this ship looks at the moment. Well then, let's take the good old space whale on a little ride. First, I will play around with the large drones. Now, the drawback for the large drones in storyline missions is that they're slow. And from my personal hunting experience, I basically shot down a couple thousand drone boats, so in that aspect I'm quite skilled and I know how these ships work. Large drones take some time to reach the target and they take some time to return to the mothership. Now, using that drone navigation control did kind of improve that a little bit. As you could see, the drones did reach the destination very quickly. and they're also pretty good when you need to retract the drones. Now, my missile launchers currently have no range, only 86.98 kilometers, so I'm orbiting at 100 kilometers, so using a missile launcher will be pointless because my missiles will never reach the target. I would say if you are using a Dominix, then don't be a stationary ship, orbit around your targets. That way, if you get jumped, then the hunter will have problems to pinpoint the exact location from which they would warp towards you. In case of an Ortus, if they decide to go close to you, then you have the neutralizer that will basically eliminate their capacitor. And one thing that I forgot to mention, always carry the whole beehive in your cargo hold. Always have a lot of drones as backup, because as you could see in one of my recent PvP parts, we shoot down a lot of drones, and you really need to have a lot of drones in these drone boats for defense, and of course if you have to change the drones for a specific target. In PvP, this ship can be quite good. I personally haven't used the Dominix in PvP, although I've heard that it's actually pretty good. I've also heard that it's good to crash gate camps, although I wouldn't use this ship to crash gate camps. There are other ships that are more suited for that purpose, but the Dominix can do that without a problem. Overall, I can see it happen. And so far, I'm quite happy with the large drone DPS. It's actually, I would say, a little bit faster and a little bit better than the Rattlesnake. And the Rattlesnake only has a bonus on large drones, and that's where the Dominix is outperforming the Rattlesnake. Because if you don't have stabs, or if you don't have neutralizers on your Rattlesnake, then you're practically a easy target. You could see me shooting down a lot of Rattlesnake with my Ortus, so again, that's one of the reasons why I like to shoot down Rattlesnakes. They don't have enough drone velocity, the large drones don't have enough drone velocity to reach my ship, and that makes them a perfect and a nice target. In case of the Dominix, don't just use one drone damage type, don't use just one drone type in general. Always carry medium and light drones, because you never know when you have to defend yourself against a Ortus or against an interceptor or anything similar to that. Scrambler, web and neutralizer are very important modules that you need to have on this ship if you are running low sec encounters or storyline missions. In high security systems, you can actually use sentry drones and you can go AFK and let the drones do the job. That works. But in low security systems, you really need to have some defenses. Now, I'm never sitting still in any of my ships. I always orbit, and this ship is actually pretty quick, so if someone is scouting your position with an ult, with a cloaky scout ult, then they will have a hard time to actually jump on you on the right distance. It gives you enough time to retract your drones, it gives you enough time to warp away if necessary, or it actually gives you enough time to shoot down the hunter that is jumping you in your mission. Now, from my personal experience, the one ship that I am careful around in the Ortus is, of course, the Dominix. Basically, drone boats are the main enemy of Mordu ships. Because, well, Mordu ships usually don't have enough tank, they're paper, and they rely on the range and speed to avoid damage. In case of the Dominix, you have enough range, you have enough DPS, and of course you have enough speed to shoot down on a unsuspecting Ortus. Basically, drone boats are very hard to tackle, and that's why I'm very careful around the ships. Now, I've mentioned that drone boats are my main source of income. Yeah, that's true. and at the same time I kinda want to help drone pilots survive incoming attacks from Ortus pilots or interceptor pilots and ships like that. So I decided to give these tips out, and hopefully the fights will be more interesting. Now let me quickly change the drones. I tested out medium drones, large drones, and they work pretty well. Now it will be time to see how the small drones sting. Let me just quickly change the beehive here. One of the last parts that I did, I fought a Dominix 2, and they had sentry drones, but they quickly changed sentry drones into medium drones, and oh man, was I worried. Those medium drones went through my shield very quickly, and they would eat my armor in a couple of seconds. So yeah, medium drones are the main enemy of Ortus or any other cruiser. The Ortus can actually tank small drones. Small drones aren't that much of a threat, but medium drones are what's dangerous to these ships. And I use the Ortus as the example of the ideal tackle ship, as the ideal hunter, because the Ortus is practically the best ship for that job, and no other ship comes close to an Ortus in that aspect. That's practically what the Ortus was made for, and as such a ship, it will be used as the main ship to be compared. Other ships shouldn't be much of a problem. Other ships that don't have 45-kilometer point range will have to be forced to go within your neutralizer range, which goes above 30-35 kilometers. So any ship that gets below that range is going to get their cap destroyed. And without the capacitor they lose speed, and of course without capacitor they lose the points, and you can easily warp away without worrying much at all. Okay, sorry for the weird cut. I've heard some weird noises outside that kind of surprised me. I had to go and check what was happening. So where was I? I kind of forgot what I was talking about. Well, in any case, I'll just return to the Dominix. So far, this ship worked quite well. I like how the Dominix works. It's an overall very good PvE drone boat, and I would say one of the more safer ships to fly. The Dominix surprisingly has a lot of options to defend itself against other incoming pirates. And from my personal experience, I had most of my times where I had to actually retreat from attacking a ship was against a drone boat, was especially against Dominix. So if you are looking for a ship that can safely do these encounters, that can safely do the missions, then the Dominix is the ship that you're looking for. Overall, this build that I'm currently using can be modified in a lot of ways. You can use practically a lot of available options that you have there, and you can improve the tank, you can improve the DPS. But I like to run this ship in this way because it gives a decent balance between defense and, of course, a decent balance against other ships. And well, with that being said, hope that this was helpful. Overall, very, very satisfied with the Dominix, with the Dominix 2 as well, and definitely recommending this ship over the Rattlesnake. And well, with that being said, hope that you enjoyed. Stay safe, fly safe, and I'll see you next time.